Javier is the first in his family to go to college. Nicole left college after her first year to get married. Now divorced with a child, she works 30 hours a week and is taking 2 courses this term. Unsure of her major, Sarah struggles with her writing, which was a problem in high school as well. She's worried because 2 of her finals this term will be essay exams. All 3 are unready to handle their upcoming college workloads to prepare for the real world. Why? Because their schools didn't prepare them for it first. Good morning, class of Mr. Redican. I'm Alec Snyder, representing the affirmative side in today's debate on the resolution resolved that schools do not prepare students for the real world. Before I begin today, I would like to define some terms, all of which are courtesy of dictionary.com. School is defined as an institution where instruction is given, especially to persons under college age. As the affirmative, I have the right to limit today's topic, and I will be limiting schools to compulsory education, meaning that any potential information presented about college education by the negative should be disregarded when making your decision. Prepare is defined as to put into proper condition or readiness. Student is defined as a person formally engaged in learning, especially in a school. And real world is defined as the realm of practical or actual experience, as opposed to the abstract, theoretical, or idealized sphere of the classroom, laboratory, etc. I stand by this resolution and believe that students are not prepared because they are no longer taught the necessary skills to succeed in the real world, and current teaching methods on the whole are ineffective. In recent years, teachers and teaching styles have come under fire due to their decrease in teaching students application skills for life after graduation. Since the implementation of the No Child Left Behind Act in 2001, many schools have strived to see their students perform well on standardized tests in order to earn more government funding. However, student learning has taken a massive hit as a result. Students are no longer being taught the essential skills they need to succeed in life in elementary, middle, and high school. Rather, they are being wired to learn how to take a specific test, and because these test results bear so much weight on school districts, much other material is ignored. The basic principle of No Child Left Behind outlined that by 2014, all students must be grade level proficient in reading and math, as evidenced by their scores on annual tests in grades 3 to 8 and once in high school. However, with over half of the nation's schools currently labeled as failing by No Child Left Behind, the goal of national proficiency by 2014 is virtually impossible. This prompted the U.S. Department of Education to admit, in many states, parents are being told that their children are proficient based on a low bar. Many of them are being lied to because their children aren't really being prepared for college and career. If this act isn't preparing our students, our next generation for the real world, then what's the point of continuing its implementation? That's a debate for another day. But with increased pressure on students to perform well for their schools, are they really learning anything aside from money has power? Not only are students emerging unprepared from schools, but they are being corrupted by learning moral values. In addition, the art of teaching itself has lost its prestige. Like students, teachers have lost freedom of expression in the classroom. Gone are the days where teachers could just worry about teaching their students to succeed in each subject and in life. Now, teachers, especially those at the elementary and middle school levels, are being tailored to teach material for the sake of students succeeding on standardized tests. Part of this is because the United States feels it needs to be on top in every standardized score possible. CQ Researcher reports that U.S. students' math scores sit behind those of their Taiwanese, South Korean, Japanese, and British student counterparts. However, the problem is larger than that. CQ Researcher also reports that teacher salaries in the U.S. are less than those of Spain, Germany, Australia, Finland, Sweden, France, England, and South Korea. This means that teachers know that with lower average salaries, they don't have to be as motivated since their earning potential is much less. And with tenure that is too easily attainable, motivation has dropped. With no motivation from the teachers, students are not benefiting from going to school like they once did. If the teachers were paid more handsomely and tenure was eliminated, teachers would be more motivated to teach their students to do their best. Instead, many students sit in schools for what is ultimately a waste of time, especially in impoverished areas. In a 2007 study that compared math scores with the amount of students who receive free or reduced price lunches, the more students who received these lunches, the lower their scores were. And the drop-off is significant. Out of an 800 score range, schools with less than 10% of students receiving these less expensive lunches averaged a score of 557. Schools with greater than 75% of students in this category averaged just 465. The national average, 508. Clearly there is a problem, as less fortunate students are not learning even the material needed to succeed on these tests. If they aren't obtaining that knowledge, what else are they being deprived of? In conclusion, students are not learning what they need to prepare them for the real world because they are no longer taught the skills they need to succeed in the real world, and teaching methods are largely ineffective at conveying the information students need to learn these skills. This deadly combination has already led to a decrease in the current generation's ability in the workforce, and there is no sign of this trend stopping. With proper reforms based on adequate research, this can be prevented in the future, but not until students recognize the problems at hand. Fewer and fewer teachers are preparing their students for the real world. Don't let yourself become one of them. Thank you, and please vote affirmative.